Hello guys, and welcome back to the F1 2016 career mode on the channel. Today we're doing part 9 and coming from Austria, the Österreich ring, the Red Bull ring, whatever you want to call it, but that is exactly what we're doing today as we head into the start of the weekend.
Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
Well, I mean, we've pretty much been bringing upgrades for most of the races this season, but you can see in the vehicle performance comparison we are quite a long way behind Ferrari, one of the front running teams, but say they're even behind Mercedes, so that's how much of a deficit we're looking at to the top two teams, the two teams that we're mainly challenging in the title fight, because we are first in the drivers' standings. With the upgrade pace, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 upgrades. We're on race 9 now, so we've only missed out upgrades on a couple of races this season. But I think the next one we're looking at is going to be a downforce upgrade to the car. So it's 950 points, currently sitting at 542. So with the practice program, the qualifying and the race and everything here, we should be able to build the bank and the deposit we have there. So let's head on to track, see what practice has in store for us for this Austrian Grand Prix.
Good morning, welcome to the Red Bull ring. Let's join the action trackside as the cars are about to appear for today's practice session.
So just coming towards the end of the track acclimatization, say Austria, not really a track I've done too much on. I used to play it sort of a long time ago on the old F1 games from the early 2000s and late 90s there, but say obviously only new or quite new onto the calendar in recent years, and not really played it on too many games apart from I think it was last year's game. So so we had no problems though in terms of the track acclimatization. We got the purple score on that. The tyre wear test, you see we're on a purple also far through laps we've done. This lap you can see, just something I want to highlight for any of you guys who might be struggling around this track for the tyre wear test. See, as long as you're towards at least halfway, these final two corners can really gain you a lot of tyre performance and tyre life. There you can see we're good on the time on the top right and in the middle of the screen. So we've gone from the middle of the green to the top end of the purple in just 2 corners, which gives us a perfect 105 points out of 105 points available in the tyre wear test. So some more good resource points gained. And then in the qualifying program, so you're just running a little bit wide out through the penultimate corner, with the final corner no problems at all, opening up DRS on the drive to the line. Over 6/10 clear of the target lap time, and that does give us a purple objective once more, and actually P1 in the session at that point as well. So a full bank deposit of resource points coming for us this time round. So we're looking at grand total just from the practice alone, 225, bringing us to within 200 points of the upgrade. We're looking at the downforce upgrade that we're wanting to get onto the car as soon as possible. Obviously coming into some high downforce tracks like Silverstone coming up, I think is next if I'm not mistaken. So I'll be interested to see how we get on with that. But for now, we're going to be heading out onto the track for qualifying, see where we can get ourselves on the grid for the race on Sunday. It's going to be interesting. So, good track, good for overtaking on the game at least, but obviously you want to get as high up on the grid as possible to start the race from.
Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon, where qualifying is about to start here in Austria. So sit back and enjoy the afternoon session.
So Q1 posed no problems for us. Say P9 on the super soft tyres, not even using the ultra softs there, and we're still within a second of the front running guys. So good session for us there, no issues at all. So we make it through obviously to Q2 and Q3. No real big name dropouts. Obviously Button down in 20th place, maybe a bit of a surprise. Then Verline just unable to squeeze into Q2 like he did in real life. But just coming into Q2 here, just going to get a radio call from the engineer.
Light rain arriving on track in 5 minutes time.
So light rain arriving in 5 minutes. That was perfect timing because we were literally just taking the fuel out of the car, getting ready for our Q2 run. And so we got, as we came out, or just about to go out the pit lane, we got the call there for light rain. So we've got to get on track, do the lap time as quickly as we can, and we are going to cross the line with a 1 minute 8.482. Not particularly towards the top end of the time sheets there. P7 there, but we are through into Q3. That's the main thing for us, and we are going to be starting on a set of ultra soft tyres. Interesting to note the two Red Bulls, 11th and 12th there on the super soft tyres. They tried to risk it for the chocolate variation of a biscuit, but they failed to get through to Q3. So good or bad, that's going to be for them to decide. They've got 3 choices of tyres for the race tomorrow. But for the final part of qualifying, you can just about see a green stripe on those tyres, and the rain has arrived. You can see in 5 minutes time it's going to be heavy rain and then easing off with the rain for the end of the session. So we need to get out on track if we can to try and set an early banker lap time on the intermediates before the heavy rain comes in, see what we can do to try and get something on the board. So just coming towards the end of our first hot lap in the intermediate, well, on the intermediate tyres. The rain is absolutely hammering it down. I think obviously you see the AI all still in the pit lane. I think they all came out for the out lap but decided it was just too heavy to actually complete a lap, but we've stuck with it just to get something on the board for now, just in case the conditions don't improve later on in the session. So we're just tiptoeing around this final sector, across the line with a 1 minute 20.1. Of course, the only driver to set a lap time here, and as we're going to come through turn 1, let's go look to the top right, and you can see the conditions are just getting worse and worse. So it wasn't a bad turn 1 there, but we're just not really just losing time, 2/10 off the pace already, and it was only getting wetter as the lap went on. So we had to abandon that until the end of the session, where we had to put on the full wet tyres. You can see the top left, everyone else has done the same. The rain, say, easing off just a little bit, and I think we're just at the sort of the lower end of the wet weather tyre usage. So we've now got one lap, so just under 30 seconds to go. We've got to make sure we make this lap count. This is going to be the final lap we can achieve. And you can see the amount of traction we've got out of that turn 1 really shows that there's a vast improvement in tyre grip, as we're now going purple through the first sector. 4.5 tenths on Hamilton in the first sector alone, 2 tenths on ourselves as we lose the back end slightly out of turn 2 there, just about snaking it through the gears. A massive kick of oversteer in 5th gear as well, just shows you how difficult the conditions are. But we're still 2 tenths up on our own lap time. I'm not 100% sure exactly what lap time Hamilton's done, apart from it's obviously a 55.8 in the middle sector, as you can see in the top left there. We're currently sitting in P4, the checker flag has fallen. So as I say, this is our last lap. We're going to get into the session here, as we're now coming through the end of this middle sector. So the difficult double left-handers here, trying to wind on as much steering lock as possible before those front tyres start scrubbing understeering. Purple once again, 1.4 seconds up on Hamilton in the middle sector. He's only done a 1:19.899, so that's what, just a couple of tenths, quarter of a second quicker than us currently, and so we're nearly 6 tenths or over 6 tenths up on our own lap time, gaining time all the way through this final sector. Now driving to the line out the final corner. Where are we going to get on the grid? Sure, it's going to be P1. I believe it is. Let's have a wait. Confirmation needs to arrive on the screen. There it is. P1, first place. We are on pole for the Austrian Grand Prix for tomorrow's Grand Prix. A great performance from us there in a difficult condition. Carlos Sainz, out of absolutely nowhere on the intermediate tyres, pops it into P2. A front row, who would have thought, a front row looking like a Force India, followed by a Toro Rosso. So Sainz squeezed into P2 on the intermediate tyres, and Hamilton, Vettel, and nothing really out of the ordinary from that point onwards. All those guys on the wet tyres. So of course, come the race, we're all going to have free range of tyres to choose from. Oh, sorry, no, that's a lie, because obviously Q2 was dry, so we're all going to be starting on the tyres we set our Q2 lap time on. And of course, those Red Bulls in 11th and 12th will have a free range of tyres to use for the start. Again, resource points gained, 112 there, so up to 910 now, as we're closing in on that upgrade that we're looking for, the downforce upgrade. But in terms of the rivalry update, it's not been too good for us here. We've actually lost overall the rivalry update to Hamilton again. So the second time he's beaten us in that rivalry. However, so the championship is the thing we're concentrating on, and we're still leading that, so that's all good as far as I'm concerned.
Hello, I just wanted to pass on the team's expectations for this race. Good luck.
So those are the race goals as we're going to be heading out on track for the Austrian Grand Prix, Part 9 of this F1 2016 career mode.
What a beautiful backdrop to a motor race. We're here in the Styrian Mountains, of course, and they've watched over some cracking races throughout the history of this Grand Prix. Controversy, of course, think back to 2002, but also great joy. Do you remember Niki Lauda's historic home victory in 1984?
So here's a strategy for the 36th lap race. So you're starting on the ultra softs, moving on to the soft tyre, and then the super soft at the end. If we want to do the 2-stop or the 3-stop, it's just going to be chucking extra set of ultra softs on at the end. So full range of tyres available is what the strategy is asking us to do as we now roll up to our grid slot. So prime position to see those 5 red lights come on in just a few seconds time as the rest of the grid starts to form.
The start sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed. Be ready with the clutch.
Some sound advice from the engineer there. As behind we can see P2 Carlos Sainz and our championship rival Lewis Hamilton directly behind us in P3, as it looks like the final few cars just coming into their grid slots now. So we have a perfect view of the run up to turn 1, watching those 5 red lights come on now though, building up the res, waiting for those lights to go out. And it's go for part 9 of the career mode here at Austria. It's not a bad start going up through the gears, and Hamilton's got an absolutely lightning start. He's going up the inside, squeezing into the inside. He's gone up there, and we have got the cut back on him beautifully, though the yellow flags have come out. Looks like there's a bit of a collision down at turn 1. I don't think any of that was caused by us, but we are back into P1, initially getting jumped by Hamilton, as we now have a safety car. So whatever happened down at turn 1 has caused a safety car to come out, so we can just calm things down again after that race start. So it wasn't a bad start from us. As you can see, just a replay here. So compared to everyone else, we got a pretty good start. It was just Hamilton got an absolutely amazing launch going up the inside of us. We squeezed him to the inside as much as possible. He went tight to the curve, just went in a bit deep, and we managed to get a perfect switch back. And it's the Williams behind making contact. A massive dive bomb from whoever the hell that was, as we just came through up into turn 2 with the lead. It looks like it was the Williams of Felipe Massa here, starting down in P6. Gets the jump on the Ferrari ahead of Sebastian Vettel, who got a woeful start. And then as he comes up the inside here, we've got Carlos Sainz, and he's gone over the curb, just driven into the side pod of this Toro Rosso. Got half spun, collected by the Ferrari, thankfully pushing him back into the right direction, as we're now on board with the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo down in 12th place on the soft tyre there to note. So a decent start from the two Red Bulls. They're pretty identical. They're pretty much 4 wide going into turn 1 with the AI, so that's pretty good to see. As you see, Massa goes up the inside, hits the curb, hits the car, and it comes to a complete standstill through turn 1 as the cars eventually get themselves going again. So that's what's caused the safety car at the start of this race, and it's taken us to the end of lap 4 to get the debris all cleared up, as the safety car now coming into the pit lane. So we're going to have to back the field up, get some heat into the tyres, try and get the jump on these guys as best we can, as we're just trying to get the engine sorted out, as the strategy is coming up and everything. Not ideal preparation for this restart. So first time we're starting a race from behind the safety car in first place. So we're looking to go, but the limiter is still active, something I did notice at the time of driving. But we're now getting underway. Green flag is now arriving as we come through the final corner. And it looks like we've managed to get a pretty decent start compared to those guys behind. Not going to be under any real pressure coming in to turn 1. You see, we've got 8 tenths on Hamilton already. So pretty much job done in terms of the safety car restart. We can now get back into the groove of this race, see how long we can get on these ultra soft tyres before they start going off, as we're now at the end of lap 5. So the end of this first racing lap after the safety car. As see Hamilton get an absolutely monstrous run out of that right and then left-handed, coming around the outside, or looking around the outside of the penultimate corner, but cannot make that move stick. He managed to defend that, but that was just a trait of this track for some reason. The AI just getting an absolute superb run out of that sort of that little sequence of corners at the start of the third sector, as Raikkonen goes purple quicker than us by nearly 7 tenths of a second. So that's pretty worrying at this stage of the race, although he is on super soft tyres, and of course our ultra softs coming towards the end of their tyre life despite the laps behind the safety car. As we're now coming into turn 2, having to defend from Hamilton, and Raikkonen now looking up the inside of him as well. We're now going side by side, wheel to wheel action into turn 2. Thankfully we managed to avoid contact, unlike the two Mercedes drivers in real life, and no DRS active as yet. Obviously we've still not done enough laps since the safety cars come in for that to be active, so that's going to save our bacon just a little bit here as we're coming down into this right-handed again, wheel to wheel contact with Hamilton. He's holding it around the outside, and with a better traction and maybe a bit higher engine mixture, which we were unaware of in our own car there, only in standard, he's managed to make the move stick, take them away from us, and we're now having a complete nightmare through the end of this second sector, up on the curb, losing the back end massively. And Hamilton, you can see, already now gaining over a second through pretty much just 2 corners alone, as we're now going to have to look to try and come into the pit lane. These tyres have absolutely gone, but as we're going to head to the pit lane, Raikkonen's coming up the inside. We have to back out of the penultimate corner to allow Raikkonen through, so we can then get ourselves into the pit lane. Hamilton making the most of his moves as well, coming into the pit lane as well to get rid of those ultra soft tyres. They are absolutely done after just 6 laps, as we're very cautious on the brakes coming into the pit lane and making sure not to pick up any penalties, as DRS now becomes enabled. As you see a whole host of cars coming past us, we put on the soft compound tyre, 2.7 second pit stop, so not the best, but it's good enough for us. We're actually down in P20, so that train of cars up ahead, all those guys on the super soft and the soft tyres, it's going to be interesting to see how long they can go before we're onto the back of them. And Sainz, our front row sitter as well, now down into technically last place, as Alonso is now behind us. Hamilton, so after just a couple of laps, has absolutely romped off into the distance, doing a 10.7. We managed to match that, which isn't too bad, as we're now coming through turn 1, and that's Kimi Raikkonen coming out the pit lane. So of course he was on the superstar tyres, he's gone an extra couple of laps from us, and he's managed to get the jump in terms of track position. Of course he was just ahead of us at the time of when we pitted, but now we have caught up to all those guys who have not yet pitted, and it's just absolute carnage. We go purple on the end of lap 9, starting lap 10. See Hamilton, who was getting a massive gap ahead of us, is now making moves, and we are making even more moves. A triple overtake on the exit of turn 1, just lining up the exit as best we can, getting the power down nice and early, and just maximising that type of performance that we've got over these guys at the moment. And we're now right back in the mix. Hamilton was just stretching away from us, but you can see with this, with all these cars who have yet to pit and the much slower cars at this rate, we've managed to gain right back up to the back of him. As we've got even more cars now holding up. We've got the Haas of Grosjean, Haryanto up in 11th place at this rate in the manner as well. As we're now just trying to get our way around the track as best as we can, saving the tyres if we possibly can as well, and obviously lots of fuel saved up because of that safety car early on, so that's going to be useful for later in the race. As we're coming through the start of the third sector on lap 10, Hamilton with a superb exit once again, going to be looking up the inside of Grosjean into the penultimate corner. It's a risky move, but he's got the car performance and the tyre life to do so, and Grosjean backs out of that one sensibly. We're now going to be looking to take advantage of that if we can. We can have DRS active right about now, getting better exit with these better tyres, and although Grosjean has the slipstream of the cars in front, Hamilton making the move on Haryanto gives us a bit of slipstream as well, so we can sneak up the inside of Grosjean. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact once again with the AI, who are extremely racy and punchy today, but we've managed to get the run out of turn 1. Haryanto now coming under pressure from us as we're now closing in on Hamilton, who seems to be conserving some fuel by the looks of things on the run to turn 2, and catching him completely unaware. And this is potentially for the race lead, or net race lead at this stage. We've managed to make the move on Hamilton up the inside of turn 2. So getting past Haryanto on his left, then up the inside of Hamilton on his right. And up ahead you've got the AI still battling each other as well. Kvyat and Gutierrez, Magnussen and Vettel going side by side. There's absolute complete carnage at this moment, utter chaos through this middle part, well, the first sort of third of this race, with these guys not yet pitting. We've got multiple cars who have pitted, and now we're really having to make our way through the field, which is just causing such good racing and entertainment at this point in the Grand Prix. We're losing the back end through that left and then right hander, and that's given Hamilton a bit of a run on us, but we've still got enough pace to try and get up the inside. Gutierrez lunging out the inside, Kvyat going up the inside of Magnussen as well, just up ahead, and we're now going to look to try and get the run on these guys coming onto the start of lap 12. Now Magnussen's been passed, we've got the DRS active, and Kvyat up ahead does not have DRS, and we're going to be looking to go up the inside of him as Hamilton behind, looking to get past Gutierrez as well, as we're trying to get as many cars between us and him as we can. And for now we're up into P8, which is good stuff. Hamilton still with 2 cars between us and him, which is going to be Kvyat and Magnussen. But coming into turn 2 now, we've got just arrows galore on the fucking cockpit of our car, and Hamilton has just dive bombed the living shite out of those 2 cars, and now up to P9, so double overtake for him into the breaker zone of turn 2 there, as we're now on lap 12. Coming towards the end of that, once again not the best exit for us, and Hamilton with that monstrous Mercedes car looking around the outside. We're not going to make it easy for him, we're going to hold that position from him, as we've still got just a few more cars up ahead. We've got Ericsson up ahead and then 2 more cars in front of him. Those guys again yet to pit, and so we're now more than, well, what, a third of the way through this race. Hamilton getting very racy again into turn 1 as he looks around the outside, and once again wheel-to-wheel contact between us and the AI there. They're so punchy on the brakes into turn 1 that they're just so much more confident for some reason, and they're just managing to try and go around the outside, but we're not having any of that as we're now coming through turn 2. Vettel's making a move on Verline, who's then backed up Ericsson on the exit, short shifting through the gears to pick up maximum traction, DRS active, and of course with that better tyre life compared to those guys around us, we're going to make the move on Ericsson. Now we've got Vettel and Verline going side by side. A lock up from Vettel into the downhill right-hander, contact between the 2 of them. We managed to sneak through on the right-hand side. Thankfully we saw that one coming with the lock up from Vettel. We managed to give them plenty of room, and that's given us another double overtake in this race. And of course all the while it's putting more cars between us and our championship rival and main rival for this race at the moment, Lewis Hamilton. I think is still behind a few of those guys, including Sebastian Vettel, who's not going to be the easiest car to pass, as we've now got Nasser and Button up ahead getting into each other on the exit turn 1, which has slowed them up massively. And with the superb run through there, some slipstream Mercedes engine and rich mixture, we're going to be going up the inside of those guys again for another double overtake, as Esteban Gutierrez has to retire from the race just before turn 2, so I presume that's going to be an engine failure for him. But thankfully we have now got through the main part of the traffic there on lap 14, so it took us a good, I don't know, 6 or 7 laps to get through all those guys, but thankfully we are into P3 now with just the 2 Red Bulls, I believe, up ahead on their soft tyre strategy. Yellow flags out, which have come out from just behind us, as we've got another safety car in this race. So whatever's happened at that penultimate corner has caused another safety car to come out, as the engine is telling us about a strategy change that we could possibly look at making, but at this moment in time I'm trying to work out what's going to be the best way to do things in terms of, do we stick to our guns and keep on this strategy we're on. So we look at the replay of what's caused the safety car, and it's Lewis Hamilton getting involved with the Ferrari and the Sauber, and he's parked it on the exit of the penultimate corner, waiting for all these cars to go past. An absolute disaster for our championship rival. On board with his teammate here, Nico Rosberg, and see, just as he comes into the corner, just cars everywhere. There's more contact between a Toro Rosso, and I think that's Kimi Raikkonen being turned around as there's debris just sliding its way back onto the track. So again, I presume that's what the safety car is for. But Lewis Hamilton getting involved and having a big moment during this race, which is going to cost him a huge amount of time and track position, as we're now just completed that first lap of the safety car period. You can see all the cars, well, pretty much all the cars behind us coming into the pit lane. And now that I'm thinking about it, at this point I was thinking, we've got 20 laps to go, or there or thereabouts. You know, we can do a super soft tyre run and then pit again for another set of super softs, rather than staying on these softs. Because see, all these guys coming into the pit lane, they're going to catch up to the back of us. They're going to be on better tyres, they're going to be on fresher tyres, they're going to be on softer compounds. It's not going to be good for us. So next lap round, we managed to come into the pit lane with Verstappen as well, by looks of him coming in. So we're going to be going on to a set of super soft tyres, 2.4 seconds this time around, so shaving a few of those crucial tenths off in the pit stop phase, which is good. So a few of the cars just making their way around. Obviously with the lap time delta and the safety car delta, they haven't been able to gain too much time, so doing that extra lap really hasn't cost us too much, and we still maintain P4 in this race. But of course, Verstappen ahead, we've got Magnussen in P2, and I think it's Ricciardo leading this race at the moment. So the two Red Bulls, despite not qualifying in the top 10, they are now in pretty good positions. They've got track position. Everyone's pretty much neutralised on the tyre strategy as the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. And we're going to be looking to build up some tyre temperature for the race restart, try and capitalise on these guys ahead. Obviously, we've got Magnussen literally in P2, a legitimate P2 at this point of the race, as we're approaching halfway, and maybe it's going to be green flag racing all the way to the end, but it's certainly green flag racing now as the safety car has come into the pit lane. Magnussen up ahead, not getting the best run. I don't think he's pitted, unlike most of the cars around him, and that's backed up Verstappen out of the final corner, giving us a great run. We're actually going to be looking at the inside of Magnussen as well. We just squeeze through the inside of him there as well, and that gets us up into P2, and it is Ricciardo up ahead then, our main race rival for now then, as I think we're all on pretty much the same strategy, as we weren't able to really make too much inroads into Ricciardo's lead over the next few laps, but he decides to pit at the end of lap 22 there for some reason. So interesting strategy call from him. I don't really know what he's planning on doing, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that as the race goes on. But just like that 23, we take over the net race lead of this Grand Prix, as we now looked at lap 26 then. So we made it so about 10 laps with those super soft tyres. We're coming into the pit lane to put on another set of super soft tyres to take us to the end of the race, getting under that 50-mile-an-hour speed limit as we come into the pit lane. So I don't really know where we stand in regards to how many tyres we have available to us in terms of brand new fresh sets, because obviously qualifying we were looking at using ultra softs. There weren't too many super softs available for us, so I think this is actually a scrubbed set, not a brand new set. Maybe 1 or 2 laps worth of tyre wear on them, as basically Rosberg has taken the lead on his soft set of compound tyres, and Ricciardo goes under P2 again on the soft set of compound tyres as well. So from this point onwards, it's going to be a race against those guys to see what we can do. So saying our fastest lap on our first final lap, just breaking the 70-second barrier there, but Verstappen behind us doing a 1 minute 9.8. So it looks like, although we're on better compound tyres, I don't know what tyres Verstappen is on himself, but we weren't really able to make too many inroads. And Kimi Raikkonen, who was literally just behind us there, you can see he was in P4, so had an engine failure, just a handful of laps to go, so he's retiring from the race. That boosts Verstappen up into P4, but unfortunately throughout the rest of this stint we were not able to make any inroads. You see, something that was interesting for some reason, Verstappen is only just a second or so behind us, but on the mini-map his actual dot is not there for some reason, so that was a little bit misleading throughout the race. But Nico Rosberg has won this Austrian Grand Prix out of nowhere really, so he wasn't really particularly in the fight, but somehow he's managed to play the perfect strategy with a safety car intervening, and he brings home a race win for Mercedes. Ricciardo in P2, and we pick up another solid podium here. It's the third step, but it's the podium nevertheless, and it's more points gained on our championship rival Lewis Hamilton here today.
Brilliant stuff from Mercedes today. That's another historic win. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well, though. There's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hound on the wheel, of course.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So there is your race winner, Nico Rosberg. You got the strategy absolutely perfect. I don't know exactly what strategy he done. We'll have a look at that in just a few seconds to see how he made the most of the two safety car phases that we had during that race. It's pretty chaotic. So the safety cars coming out, and then that part earlier on in the race where we're just fighting through just masses of cars as we've made our pit stop compared to those guys, which is great fun. But as I say, P3 for us today is a 2-stop from Rosberg and Ricciardo that they managed to pull off. So you've got Grosjean up in P6 with the 1-stop, and then you've got multiple 3-stoppers as well. So a real variety of strategy on play, or in play then. Hamilton, after that, the second safety car which he caused due to his crash, only bringing home 2 points for his championship here, and that's, as you can see here, this is how it's left the championship standings as of right now. We're looking at 160 points, 16 points now clear of Nico Rosberg, who moves up into P2 and jumps Lewis Hamilton, who's now a full race win behind us there, and then the 2 Ferraris and the 2 Red Bulls behind them. So although it wasn't a race win, obviously Rosberg gaining on us, overall it's been a good weekend for us here. So we've managed to maintain P2 in the constructors as well, ahead of Ferrari, which is an incredible feat, it must be said, but still a long way behind Mercedes. And with the car performance, Ferrari and Mercedes are a long way ahead in their development program for their car. So we need to hope that they slow down their pace and we can improve ours. And speaking of which, we get our resource points from the race performance there, bringing us to 1009, which gives us enough for that downforce package that we were looking for. So we get an extra few, actually, an extra 92, bringing us to 1101, which is good. So that means going into the next round of the career mode, which is going to be, I think it's Silverstone. So we'll have a look. Well, sorry, you have to tune in next time to find out if it is Silverstone. But we are going to be able to upgrade the front wing cascades to give us some improved downforce for that, which is going to be much needed in this car, it must be said. So be interested to see if the team can get that ready for next episode. But that is going to be it for part 9 of this career mode. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. I certainly did. It was a pretty entertaining race, it must be said. Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I'll be sure to read them, try and answer a few of those if I can. And I hope to see you guys for the next episode. But for now, it is going to be a goodbye and thank you for watching.